Hey everybody, what's up? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is the Devil. The second card we have out is Two of Swords. And we have Six of Swords. Okay. When we have Devil and Two of Swords, it can sort of cloud our judgment when it comes to choices that we're making, even a choice that we need to make. The Devil can also sort of present itself in a way where it says, hey, focus on me and consider me when you're making this choice, when really it's not something that we need to be considering. But it can attempt to make itself a contender when it comes to choices that we have to make. But then seeing Six of Swords, I'd say actually that you're moving on from this. So this can be something that's like trying to get you involved, that then you just move on from or move forward with. Something that it feels like at first you may have considered, but then you get to a point where you're like, oh, I don't need to have this be part of this process for me. That being understood, which is indicated by the Six of Swords, and then being able to move forward. So I'm not seeing you be stuck there anymore, but it can be something that that can potentially throw us off initially for a little bit. So yeah, with the Devil, it feels like something that could have had you caught up, but then I'm seeing there be a moving past that. And I'm seeing you also look very clear-headed too. So it seems like whatever that was, it's not really in the space anymore for you. Like it's not really impacting your thinking here. Because with this Queen of Swords, I'm seeing you actually think quite clearly. I am seeing an Ace of Cups that's being presented to you. Ace of Cups that's being presented. Queen of Swords is the part of you that's going to really think this through. With the Ace of Cups and the Magician, this is an intention here. But you really get to decide what you want to do with that, what you think about that, how you're assessing this. I don't know why, but with the Devil and the Hierophant, I'm kind of getting this feeling of being like superstitious about something. Like that is the feeling that I get, because if we're seeing the Devil as pushing the Hierophant into some type of polarity, and the Hierophant is already kind of strict, kind of like go by the rules, follow the rules, traditionally what's being done, the path that's regularly taken, and that's being pushed into some sort of extreme. It feels like choosing that just because that's what's done, but may not be actually appropriate for the situation. And that could have been clouding judgment before. It's like maybe there's like right and wrong in a situation. Just an example, maybe there's right and wrong, and like you know what would be right, but it may go like against the rules or something here. But that, and then you get to choose, like, do I just follow the rules that everyone says that's the right thing, or do I really follow what's resonating with me and my instinct here of what should actually be done? So it can challenge that. This is something that's going to challenge some sort of extreme beliefs. So something's coming up that's challenging extreme beliefs because of the extremeness of the beliefs, it feels like that is what creates the Two of Swords, which then brings something up that doesn't actually need to be considered here, because there's something off about it, because it is not a neutralized pure energy. This is something too extreme. And so you can be working with that within yourself, because this can be stuff that sort of locks you down or chains you down in some way that you don't want to be, but you have to break down those beliefs then. And they would be beliefs that would feel like it puts you in a position of giving that the authority and giving that the power, and then becoming somewhat subservient to it, and then feeling like what you really feel is then completely covered by that. So it can have you actually become out of touch. And this can also be something that's motivated by fear as well, when we have the Devil there. Feels like quite a high cost for things to look all right on the outside. And you can almost feel too like this doesn't allow for a full foundation to be developed. You can feel like it's built on something, some type of material that has a very high price. And it may be something that the more you feed into it, the higher the price gets. All just to keep something. I do feel like some type of choice having to do with your like morals, your beliefs, something like that, that's coming up here. At the same time, this can be checking some type of extreme beliefs that you have, some type of belief where you give something, where you outsource authority. That can be connected with this as well. These can be like extreme rules that we follow because we feel like we're supposed to be doing that, and then it feels like it impacts something that you currently have going on, that you may have to sort of abide by these rules in order to keep this, and you can feel like maybe that's coming up into question. Maybe this is something that you're looking at and you're like, this is kind of extreme, or I feel like I have to be subservient to this in some type of way, or I feel like I'm giving that the authority and then I'm losing my inner authority here because I'm giving it away to that. I'm assigning it to this instead. And so you can feel like your inner voice and your instinct is being covered by that. But then having this Six of Swords, I feel like there's an understanding of this. Like with the Devil and the Four of Wands, it feels like a very high price to be paying just for something to like look good externally, but it feels like something is wrong with it internally. It feels like the house looks all right, but if you went inside and saw what was going on there, something's wrong with it. And it feels like all of this just to have things look okay externally, when on the inside something doesn't feel right here. But this way of doing things where it's like, maybe this is what you've been taught, maybe this is what you were around, maybe this has been passed down, maybe this has just been ingrained within you in some way. There's like a deprogramming that's in the process of happening here. This can be something that really got to you because it's very fear-based, so it can be difficult to separate yourself from. It can be difficult to integrate. It can be something that you can feel like really takes over as well and begins controlling you, your choices, your mind, your logic. But with this Six of Swords, I feel like you're moving past this. And the only way that you can move past this is to move through it. The only way you can move through it is to understand it. And so I do believe that there's an understanding here that's being gained that wasn't seen before. And that's why this was allowed to happen. Because when these energies go unchecked, they just get bigger and bigger and stronger. But when we hold light to it, it's something that it can't really stand anymore. You're able to see through it. And it can be something ultimately you decide, I don't want that. I'm seeing the Eight of Cups here. This can be too, I stayed within this because I was scared that I wouldn't make it if I left. Because the devil will use all of those tactics too. It's like ways that we manipulate ourselves, ways that we allow ourselves to be manipulated through fear. So it's not, I'm saying because this feels empowering to me. This is, I'm staying somewhere, or I'm actively participating in something that I know does not feel right for me, but the reason that I'm doing it is fear-based. Because what happens if I leave, or what happens if I allow myself to disconnect? What if I don't find what I'm looking for? What if I'm worse off then? I think two things that can come up are fear of the unknown and just assuming that you're going to be worse off because of it. Because the devil will be like, well, is the price really that high? Look at all of this stuff that you get. Meanwhile, you know within that this doesn't feel right. But at the same time, as soon as you try to move, the devil will do something to attempt to pull you back into that situation to keep you within that. That's the cyclical nature of it. And this feels like something that slowly but surely you've been working on it, where there's been I think like a cleansing of your mind here, where you've been really looking at this and connecting with something deeper, I think within yourself. The devil gets us too in a lot of different ways, but when you get to the bottom of the logic, it's going to be something fear-based. So it will be like, well, you've spent all of this time doing this. You've already invested so much. So you're going to leave, and isn't that going to be a waste of all of the time that you put in, or all of the years that you spent? Or it will be something like, well, if you're okay here financially, what if you decide to really listen to what you're feeling and then you're not okay? Like, what if you don't have the support that you need? What if you don't have a system that you need? Yeah, just things like that will reinforce you through the use of fear to bring you back into it, to not allow you to sort of escape from this. And so having to come face to face with your fears and the things that keep you in situations that you don't want to be in, and you can know isn't the best thing for you, but you can be like, I feel like it's the only alternative. And that's what the devil will tell you. And so that's what we end up believing, but we don't have to. So when we start connecting, when we start looking into this more deeply, when we start cleansing our minds and cleansing our energy, this is something that we begin to see through. And so you can be at a point where maybe you're going to establish something that feels like it's more along the lines of the code and the beliefs that you want to be living by. And maybe giving your values some different meaning here. This can be redefining values that you're doing, redefining commitments, redefining meaning, what holds meaning for you. And this can be a renewed sense of commitment that you're creating with yourself. I'm seeing Capricorn, I'm seeing Taurus, and I'm also seeing Mercury. I'm seeing that you're going to be getting very far away from this situation. The devil will be something that you know within your heart it's ultimately not of highest alignment. It's not the best thing for you. But there are fear things that reinforce us being in those situations. Working with that, working through that. I think also something that's coming to light as well is seeing that if something looks good on the outside, but you live in it on the inside, and so you have to deal with all of that stuff that's connected with the inner workings. I think recognizing that you can have something that's solid all the way through. You can have something that not only does it appear the way that you want it to appear externally, but that it also feels right on the inside as well, that is an option. The devil can be telling you that that's not an option. This is also something that can be seen too. Like, is something truly harmonious in your life if it only looks good at a certain angle, you know, and not all the way through? Is that really what true harmony and stability looks like to you? And can there even be some type of extreme commitment here just for the sake of commitment, but it's no longer aligned with your truth anymore? And then doesn't allow you to, I think, see yourself as constantly evolving. It's like committing to an item of clothing from when you were 6 and you're 26 now and still trying to like fit in that thing, but you've grown, things have changed, it's not going to be the same situation anymore. But being like, well, I said that this was going to be my favorite shirt forever, and it feels like it doesn't really fit this situation anymore. And you can see that it's more about, I think, that commitment of that's sort of what was ingrained within here. But if you look around the situation, it's like inappropriate for the situation now. But that belief that's your favorite shirt, and that means that you need to wear it, and that you're not going to buy anything else, and that you're not going to wear anything else, it feels like that's the thing that clouds the judgment from seeing what the current situation is. Almost like not seeing that it's illogical now at this point. This can also be the choice between choosing something that you see as being the traditional route, or like what's more commonly accepted, or what's like more societally supported, versus maybe what's coming up for you and it's going to be something different. It's a bit of a different path. But this can be maybe different than what was taught within your community, or different than what was taught within your family, or different than what was taught to you in some type of area, in some way that was formative to you at the time. And it feels like either staying on that path of staying committed to something even though it may not make sense anymore for the situation, versus listening and tuning in and feeling, and then being able to adjust to what's happening presently. It feels too like one of those situations where like you have a map, okay? And you're driving down a road and there's a stop sign, and at the stop sign there's an option for you only to turn right, but on the map it says to turn left. And so you can see obviously what's in front of you to make the turn. That's the only turn on the path, and to go that way, or be like, well, the map says, and still do that anyway. And it's like, you're just going to be off-roading then, and you're not going to get where you thought that you were going to try to go. All because of, well, this was what was on the paper and that was my expectation. And so I'm just going to stick to that, even though in real life you're seeing something else happening there. Like something was off with that map. And so this is going to be the correction happening. But there can be this part of you that feels very committed to the map, even though what you're seeing real life in front of you is a different thing that's occurring. But I think this is that like wanting to stick to those rules, because we have the devil here in a very extreme way, where it's like, you see, obviously there's only one turn and it's different than what the map says, but what are you going to do? You have to stay on the road, right? For the sake of this example. And what you're going to find is something much more profound, and I think really what you're looking for on a deeper level. That's what this is going to cultivate for you. You're going to have to work through the fear stuff though, in order for this to be possible. And in ways that you may not realize that it's motivated by fear. There's going to have to be a like really looking at those things, because fear can disguise itself in many ways. So there's going to have to be a truthfulness in the way that you reflect on this in order to get the clarity that you seek. That would be helpful to you here, to help you clear your mind. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.